hate college, but love all the parties. Finishing cakes and crushing bottles of Bacardi. King of the class, I'd rather lay up with a hottie. Single doesn't mean I'm looking for somebody.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Thank you for clicking on the video. I'm excited for this one. It is going to be fun. I've gotten a few questions on myself in college. How was I in college? What kind of foods did I eat? And I started to think that I might still have my old meal plan saved on my laptop from college. A lot of you have called me out on that old crack book, and some of you think that I'm just trying to be a hipster, when in all reality, I'm just too cheap to buy a new one, although I hope to very soon. So I went up there and looked, and I do, in fact, still have it saved on an Excel document. See, I'm feeling extremely old right now, but in my day, back in my day, we did not have MyFitnessPal. I entered college with a BlackBerry. I don't even think I had a real data plan. But there was no MyFitnessPal, there was no app like that, so I tracked everything on an Excel spreadsheet. Obviously, my Excel skills were not up to par back then, but you know, it got the job done. So I'll kind of walk you through my thoughts on nutrition back then, why I ate the certain way that I did, and I'm just going to try to recreate the way that I ate back in college, and just provide you guys with some stories, hopefully some old pictures. I know you guys have been asking for that. Unfortunately, I've deleted so many old pictures. I wish I would have kept some of them, but anyway, this intro has gone on long enough. First thing we're going to do is a pre-workout meal, which has stayed pretty much constant for a lot of years now. So I'm going to have an apple, banana, a scoop of protein powder. We'll get to some more when we get back home. Hope you guys enjoy it.
You'll win somehow, so give up on the battle, baby. It's hard, I know.
I figured it would be appropriate to very briefly touch on my training when I was in school, just in case some of you are curious. So I started off on a bro split like everybody else, but then I learned more and more as time went on, and I met this guy. His name was Bruce. I sat right next to him in economics class, and we started talking, and he introduced me to a guy. You might have heard of him. His name is Lane Norton. And this is a crazy story. A few weeks ago, my neighbor from back home that I lived next to my whole entire life, he's like, hey, I work with this guy. His name is Bruce. Do you know him? You went to Wright State with him. And I was like, yeah, I remember that guy. He probably has no idea who I am anymore. And he's like, oh, he watches your channel. What the heck? What are the chances of that? But anyway, Bruce introduced me to Lane Norton and his program called F.S.T.I.V.L. That's a program I would highly recommend to you guys. You guys can Google it. I made the most progress on that program, and it was more of like a power building program. And that's kind of what I did probably, I think it was like sophomore through senior year, or different variations of that. And then when I went into graduate school, which I'm not going to touch on in this video because everything changed when I was in graduate school. We're just going to talk about undergrad here. But when I went to grad school, I did push-pull legs, more or less. So that's the training style. Now we're getting on to the food. So without fail, roughly 4 years straight, what I would have are 3 whole eggs and 1 cup of oatmeal. And it never got old. It's still one of my favorite breakfasts of all time. And it kind of goes to show you that I was a bit of a bro eater, but I didn't necessarily believe all the bro myths, because like I mentioned, I did find Lane Norton pretty early on, luckily, because there wasn't a lot of good information out at that time. So Lane kind of opened my eyes to flexible dieting, even though I wasn't nearly as flexible as I am now. And there's a few reasons for that. One is because you saw that Excel spreadsheet. If you wanted to fit things in, I mean, you had to do a lot of manual work. And if you want to hit your numbers, that takes a lot more effort than just sticking to the same thing day in and day out. It just wasn't really worth it to me at the time. Now, I still ate a lot of fun foods, but that was mostly saved for the weekends, just because that is when I went home. And that's when I had just different types of foods around me, because when I got back to school, I had all my food prepared in Tupperware. Yes, every single meal except breakfast was prepped, and the before bed meal. Because I was at school, I was at work, all I wanted to do was grab and go. The only thing I was worried about was saving time so I could study more. If you guys only knew how much I studied in college, I was far, far beyond what I would ever recommend to anyone in terms of dedicated to school. You got to have a balance, and I did not have that whatsoever, but that's for another video. So I knew flexible dieting existed, but it just was not convenient for me at the time. And I specifically remember the Wayne Norton video that really taught me this lesson. And he was like, something to the effect of, you can eat just chicken, broccoli, and brown rice 7 or 8 times a day. And if that makes you feel hardcore and you get results, then it's fine, but you're kind of punishing yourself unnecessarily. Like, you don't have to do that. And he was sitting there making a homemade pizza when he was in a prep for a bodybuilding competition. And obviously he's got a great physique. He's a really strong guy. So I was like, and he was a doctor. That was big for me. Obviously, I'm pretty big on education. So that is kind of how I got introduced. So I'll talk to you guys here in a few hours, because one thing you will notice is I did eat more frequently and smaller meals.
Get all light up.
It's a little bit strange to be talking to you guys right now. You guys know that I usually eat a lot later in the day, usually just eat bigger meals and less of them, but we are gonna try this out for video purposes and just for old time's sake. So I guess one way I can make this video a little bit more value added is if I show you different ways to make some of these boring foods taste a little bit better. So with ground turkey, taco seasoning can really make a world of difference. If you're like me and you don't think ground turkey tastes all that good on its own, just add some seasonings to it and it really does make it a whole lot better. And for this meal, it was either ground turkey or ground beef. They were interchangeable, but no matter what, I had one of those essentially every single day of the week. And to answer the question, what was I like in college? Well, that is a loaded question. I was just as weird as I am now. I studied a lot, especially as college went on. So I started out probably like any other college freshman and just wanted to have fun. I wanted to drink a lot and I wanted to go out. We had this club we went to every single Thursday that we just thought was the greatest. A lot of beer pong, just the typical college stuff. And then, like I kind of alluded to earlier, I went home every single weekend. My college experience was a lot different than most people, which is fine. I had a great time, but it kind of fell off the party scene after that. So, I was just the average person, I guess, with my own quirky way. I will never be considered normal, let's put it like that. And I can never be labeled in any stereotype. So I was like in my room studying all the time, and my other hobby was at that time motorcycles. I had a street bike, so obviously you don't think of those going hand in hand. And I was just kind of all over the place. But one of the things that has always stayed constant is that I always loved the gym, and I relied on the gym. Stress relief, just get away from everything. But anyway, you guys are going to laugh when you see the food that I paired with the turkey or the ground beef. Believe it or not, another cup of oatmeal. I don't know why I thought that this was a great combination, especially with ground beef. Turkey, not so much, but in my mind, ground beef and oatmeal just went together like spaghetti and meatballs. I don't know. But nonetheless, I've always loved oatmeal. I still love oatmeal, and I always will love oatmeal. More than likely. I don't see myself ever getting tired of it, considering I've eaten it for breakfast for the last probably, 7 years now? I think it's safe to say that it's gonna keep on going. So what about you guys? Have you changed the way that you've eaten in recent years? Or if you've been to college, did you eat one way and then when you graduated, you ate a different way? For me now, it's just that I come home from work and I have a little bit more time, which is misleading because I definitely don't have more free time, but I just have more time like in a bigger gap. When you're in school, you have like 30 minutes to run from class to class. I don't have time to come home and cook stuff. But after work, I get off and I can come home and I can spend my time cooking, which I do for you guys, but a lot of times I would prefer to just have food made. Makes it easy. I can go about my day.
Inside peanut butter, outside jelly. 7 days of the week, 7 different Chevys.
The one, the only, the peanut butter sandwich. One of the greatest foods of all times for so many reasons. One, it's dirt cheap, and let's face it, when you're in college, you don't have a lot of money. 2, it's delicious. 3, you don't have to keep it cold and you can pack it with you anywhere, which is a huge problem in college, obviously. And if you guys need any suggestions on how to keep foods like chicken and meats cold when you're on campus, just let me know. I have all the tricks. But anyway, back to the peanut butter sandwich. This is something that I would bring with me, either eat it in between classes or when I was in this math class. Actually, it was calculus, business calculus. And I spent my life down in this, they called it the Math Help Center. I think that's what they called it at least. And I needed a whole lot of help. And I actually hired a tutor that I met at the bar one night when I was pretty hammered. But we became really good friends. And I ended up acing the class, but I was very extreme about it. Like I said, we're not talking about that in this video, but good memories. You obviously do not want to try to study when you're hungry. You just lose focus way too quick. So the peanut butter sandwich, one of the greatest foods of all time, and I'm really looking forward to eating this. I haven't had one in a while. This is one reason I don't like eating so many times per day, is because it takes way too much time. But anyway, I'm gonna preheat the oven to 400 degrees, and I'm going to put some chicken in there for 30 minutes. This is just the way that I cook it in the oven. I know that there's a lot of other ways, and if you have a better way, please leave in the comment section below. As we all know, chicken gets pretty bland after a while, so if you have a better way to do it, I definitely want to know. So unlike the oatmeal and the turkey, we're gonna have a little bit of a normal side with the chicken. Of course, we've got to go with the bro of all bro, brown rice. I don't really know why that is so bro. It's not even like it has that many micronutrients. So why do the bros like brown rice so much? I don't know. It doesn't even taste that good in my opinion, but I had to bring it back. Now, I have not had these minute brown rice since I was in college, and do you know how much these cost nowadays? These cost, for two of these, $1.79. Do you know how much rice you can buy for $1.79? You could buy like 2 months worth of rice for that much. Ridiculous. And of course, when I was in school, I was not made of money, obviously. So why did I buy these? Well, I knew every single microwave there was on campus. I scoped them out and I knew where to be, when to be there. And that is why I brought these, because I could just throw them in the microwave. And my mom actually found them on sale one time at Kroger for 50 cents for a pack. I think they were retailing for more like $1 back when I was in school, but 50 cents for two of them, 25 cents a cup, I could get down with that. So we bought so many of those things, and I think they lasted me for like a year or two in college, but I don't think I'm gonna be buying any more of these. So I'm gonna have that. Of course, I gotta have my veggies as always, and that is going to be my very bro dinner. I'm trying to be all sentimental and eat out of Tupperware really backfired on me because I can't even fit all the food in here. As you can see, I still got one of these rice on the side. And that's one of the things I really do like about eating clean foods, is that you just get so much volume. I think for like, maybe this is like 700 to 800 calories. I mean, this is a lot of food. So I topped it with mustard. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna think about all the good times that I will never get to experience ever again. It sounds so much worse than it really is. I mean, think about it. Just because you're not in college doesn't mean you can't have fun like you were in college. I feel like I have more fun out of college anyway. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but sometimes when I taste a specific food, it really does bring back certain memories, especially if it's very distinct, like this brown rice. I don't know what it is about this stuff, but it just tastes a little bit different than any other rice I've ever had. And it really brings me back to sitting outside of the nursing college, because I found there, see, I went to the school with underground tunnels because it's by an Air Force base. So I could take the tunnel out of the business building into the nursing school for more than one reason, obviously, but that's where I always sat to eat dinner because I did a lot of night classes. So I'd sit there, eat my food, and eating this, it really made me feel like I was there again, as strange as that sounds. Anyway, we've talked enough here, so I'm gonna disappear for a few hours or so, and then we will finally be finishing up the video.
Blow it up, that's how we ball out.
Blow it up, that's how we ball out.
So the one food I was known for more than anything in school was a spinach omelet right before bed. Every single day. My roommates knew it, their girlfriends knew it, everyone that came around knew it. At that certain time, I think it was like, I don't know, maybe like 9:30 back then, I would have this same omelet every single night. And I'm very ashamed because I don't have any spinach. It just doesn't feel right to even be eating it, but I kind of forgot about that part. So we're gonna have the omelet, and we got a few more things. Omelet time, that's what it was. Omelet time. We need to bring that back. So the final few things I had down here were milk and bar. I'm guessing that means protein bar. Although I don't remember eating protein bars in college, but apparently I did. So I'm going to be having a Quest bar, and I'm also going to be having some of this Carb Master chocolate milk. Now, I've talked to you a lot about the Carb Master yogurt, but I found this at the store. The best macros I've ever seen on any chocolate milk, and really any milk in general, and it tastes fantastic. It tastes almost as good as like the Milk Chugs. If you guys have never had Milk Chug chocolate milk, then you have never had real chocolate milk. Actually, I'm sure that they all taste the same. Nestle, all of them. But for whatever reason, I just really like the milk chug, probably because I'm not going to get into too many more stories. This video has gone on long enough. So I know that this was not on the original college Excel file, but I'm also going to be having a bagel just to get a few more extra carbs in, and that is going to conclude all of the food for the day. So that's the video, guys. The cool thing is that I'm able to eat more food now than I was when I was in college, when my activity level was a lot higher. I was probably spending a little bit more time in the gym, and I was walking around campus, I was walking to classes. That's pretty neat. It just goes to show that if you do this very gradually over a long period of time, you can slowly increase the amount of calories you're able to intake without gaining too much extra body fat. So I guess you could say that I've done the clean eating thing. I've done the multiple meals per day, or at least like, what, 4 or 5 that I had today. And I've also done If It Fits Your Macros. I've gone as far as intermittent fasting some days. So my overall thoughts is that it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've kind of been on both ends of the spectrum, and I haven't noticed a big difference. What I have noticed is that what will fit within your life and what is most convenient to you is what you will stick with, and it will be the most effective. So I've talked way too long. If you have made it to this part in the video, because all I've done this whole video is talk about myself. So tell me something about yourself in the comment section below. If you don't, then I'm gonna know you didn't watch to the end, and my feelings are going to be hurt. But either way, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch the video. That really means a lot to me. You could have been doing anything in the world, and you chose to spend 10 minutes with me. That's pretty awesome. Please give the video a like. A like? Yeah, that guy. If you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate that, and I'll talk to you next time.
I hate college, but love all the parties. Finishing cakes and crushing bottles of Bacardi. King of the class, I'd rather lay up with a hottie. Single doesn't mean I'm looking for somebody. Some say they drink, blaze up, but hardly. Popping PK, ski a little bit.
I guess this is my dissertation. Homie, this shit is basic. Welcome to graduation.